Hello everyone, welcome to Scarecrow Miniature Painting. I'm Steven, and in this video we are going to move on to, because this will be part 8 of the series that we are working on with our Tiefling Warlocks here. Let me grab the other one for you guys to see. So last episode we did the highlighting of the tunic in blue, and we did the skin tone of the zombie. I think both of those turned out exceptionally well. And what we are going to be doing in this video is the little bit of brown on him and the little bit of gray on the zombie. After that, we will give everything a wash. We'll let it dry. And then once it is dry, we will be moving on to the object source sliding finally. So that'll be episode 9. And with the object source sliding, I wouldn't say it's going to be difficult, but it is going to be an experience. What I mean by that is in this alone, we have about 2 or 3 different shades. So we can do all 3 of those shades, or we can do one and drag it down. So that's what I was thinking of doing, is just dragging it down and then dulling it, brightening it up a little bit more as we go down. That's not typically how you do object source sliding. Typically it is, hey, here's my point of source. It's shining on me here, and about right here it starts to get dull, lower down, even duller. But that will be for next video. Because like I said, we're going to try getting the wash in today, and we're going to try getting in the rest of these highlights. I am still trying to limit videos to 30 minutes apiece. If you think that the videos are too long and you would like to see shorter videos, let me know in the comments section how short you would like them. I'm always up for taking suggestions, especially to make everyone happy. If you have been following the channel for a while now, you'll know that I originally started doing videos at full-length tutorials, non-stop. That was becoming a little bit time-consuming on my end. So I decided to transition on over to just doing it for once a video. We will try to cut it in half. So I'm just going to mix that together. I'm going to try leaving some of that desert sand in there. I already like how that turned out, so I'm just going to take my single dot. I'm going to pull what I have created into that. I'm going to mix it up. That's the good thing about brown pigmentations, is they tend to stick fairly well when thinning. So, how are we going to do this, you might ask? So, just like with the blue, we're going to run it over that arm. We're going to do the entirety of this bracer. Just the top of the bracer, though. Don't want to go too crazy. We're going to do this sleeve, cuff, and the entirety of it. We are going to do from about the shoulder blades up to the chest. We're even going to do a little bit on the chest itself. And we're going to do that collar. We're going to leave a little opening on the neck. And the reason we're leaving that opening on the neck is because of the fact that shadow would actually hit that when looking down. Same process on this other side. We're going to go to chest length. The top of this arm. And this bracer, we're going to do the majority of the top bracer. We're going to do about 3/4 of the bottom. And that's what we got so far. So, now let's move on to the pure. Let me double check. Yeah, it's fine. We're going to move on to the pure desert sand highlight. So, unlike what we did with the blue and what we did with the green and the tan, if you notice, with pants that are highlighted, you do more so what you did with this hand, where you just go down, but you leave space on both ends to get that highlight. So we went midway on him, so we're going to go up a little bit more. We're going to go around the neck as softly as we can. Now eventually, that neck highlight will stop. And the reason that would stop is because we don't want to oversaturate that neck highlight. Just like we did on the pants, you're going to go from one end of that highlight to the other where the break ended. But you're not going to touch where the break ended. You're just going to go as close to the break end as you can. And that is what we got. I like how he turned out. We could go one step higher with him. Bear with me while I fix the camera. Second time in 2 videos that has happened. I am looking for an actual camera that we can, or actual camera stand we can use, so that does not happen again. So we could go another highlight up. However, I feel that where he is at is perfect because it gives just enough highlighting and shows how the process is done, especially since a lot of that will dilute, especially those browns. Once we move into one with him, the shading, and with this one here, it's going to dilute because of the shading and the object source lighting. He's going to get the brunt end of a lot of that object source lighting. And I'll show you all how to do that as well in this video. I do want to check one thing though, because I know I wanted to do a mud effect, and I wanted to make sure I had my mud effect paints with me. And if not, I would have to go and grab that when we get to that step. Actually, no. When we get to the step of us actually painting the bases, we'll just do the desert brown. We already got it on the palette. No point in getting it anything else out. So we're just going to mix these two up. We're going to try to leave some of that there. I'm going to put a little dollop of water. Right there. I'm just going to mix what we have here up in there and try not to get a wash. There we go. I'm going to take a little bit more of that blue and or wolf gray, and I'm going to mix it in there. It's the most paint I've had on me all series. I usually am a lot cleaner. I'm not sure what happened with these paints. But let's get onto it. So this guy's actually going to be pretty similar. We're just going to take it from the shoulder, but then we're going to take it down to the chest. We're going to do his entire chest. We're going to do the top of that arm. And we're going to do around this side. Of the green. Okay. So while that dries, because that one is going to be a little bit more, actually that's drying pretty well. We're just going to take that, we're going to start final highlight. Just like before, we're going to start where we were. We're going to stop about midway on both. Transition over. Stop midway. Like that. So now, since the browns should be dry, and I have to wash my fingers real quick and figure out what happened there. It might be just the paint itself. I gotta double check. Nope, not the paint. Okay. So, if you all have seen me do washes before, you know that I typically do use a smaller dry brush. And I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that still in this video. As long as I can get that to be less stiff. But the only difference is we're going to have a more predominant decision on where we are washing, at least this first one. What I mean by this first one is we're going to do 2 coats. And the reason we're doing 2 coats is one's not going to be thinned out, but I am going to thin it out on my brush. It's going to be his belt. Because it does have all those grooves. If you watched the last video, I do film these videos back to back. We are under a severe storm warning. So if my light goes out and the video halts unexpectedly, please do not worry. I will update you on the Facebook page. And I will keep everybody in the know as best I can. Now when doing washes, you want to do the recesses, any form of fabric that is flowing, because what this wash is going to do is it's going to sit in those recesses. One of my favorite miniatures that I ever did that had recesses, not as bad as this one, but somewhat, was a what was that called? Shambling mound. Almost got tongue-tied there. We're going to do the hair too. His hair's going to be darker. We are going to do the face too, but the face we're going to get really toned down because we don't want to lose any of the effects that we already have painted on there. So there's the first bit. Now the second bit is where we're going to get it really toned down. We're going to paint or brush on these spots that meet everything else. This is going to darken up all of the pigmentation that we did do, which is why we had made the highest highlight so bright, so that once we do this wash, it molds better into a more natural, vibrant highlight. And anywhere that you think you might have put too much of wash, just take your brush and move it around it. But you do want to make sure you get the majority of it, if not all of the figure. And we are going to do the eyes still. We still got to do the eyes on this one. We still have to do the eyes on both of these. But we didn't want to do the eyes yet because it would make it... The color we're going to be using for eyes, which is right here, Mummy Robes, it's a little bit lighter. And we're going to be mixing that with some Void shield blue to give that essence, or even Warlock purple to give the essence that, hey, that one's doing magic, that one's not. So on to the next one. So this one, just like before, you're going to thin it down. You're going to focus solely on the recessed areas. Anywhere you want to have a recess. Now, with this figure, it's going to be a little bit different, because you can touch up that light with it, but it's not necessary. We are, because of the fact that it has those highlights we gave it. Oh, sorry, I keep getting heartburn today and I don't know why. But we are almost done with our figures. And I appreciate everyone that was on this journey with us, because it means a lot to me. It shows to me that you guys are taking the time to watch my videos and keep up to date with the channel and the series as a whole. And I know that's not easy to do, especially with a series like this where we have 8 different videos now, focusing on multiple different aspects of the same miniatures. But without you guys watching, we would not be doing this. We would not be thriving as we do on the channel. And yes, I know we're still small. However, how I see it is, if we were able to garner 12 or almost 20 subscribers in less than a week, I must be either doing something right, or you all are liking the content, or both. But that being said, we're going to let these guys dry. And then we will do the eyes on both. His eyes, we are going to be doing a pure red. I have decided that. And then this one's eyes, we're going to be doing just white. But as you can see, that... Oh, that's right there. I'll take a picture of this as well and post it on the Facebook group. But that one highlight we did, once we darkened it, you can really see it on the horns, really took off. And really brings out the character and shows that, hey, this guy is in the sun. So while we're waiting for that to dry, let's do that sand. Where did my... Because we're going to want to do the sand at least on this figure before next video, because once we get to this figure for the object source lighting, we're going to need that base painted or based, or however we're doing it, because with how the object source is, and it's not an enclosed median, we are going to have to focus our attention to making sure that we have a proper area of effect for the object source lighting. since, like, for instance, right there, that comes down there, so it's going to have a little bit on the base itself. So we're trying to make sure that we cover everything that would eventually get hit with that object source lighting, like I said. Which with this figure, it is a lot. It is nearly the entire miniature will be hit. I gotta take my paint real quick. And a little bit of the gray had gotten on him, but actually that looks kind of good. It looks like it's got sand coming up, or coming out of sand. So we'll leave the little bit there, because it's not much. But we'll let that dry. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, that's because we thinned down that wash, that is actually drying fairly quick. We might be able to get the object source lighting in today if you guys have the time to fall over. I'm kidding. If you guys have the time, I mean, we can definitely get it done today, or I might do it just to a separate video. We are already at the 26-minute mark, so I think we are just going to do it in a separate video, actually. But let me finish these bases, and then we will discuss some next steps that we're going to take. And then we will discuss what we are going to do for the future. Bear with me. There. So that's done. So we gotta let those bases dry before we can get to this object source lighting. But that one is almost nearly dry. It looks like we might have missed a spot, so I'll touch that up real quick. There we go. And we'll let these dry, and I will see you in the next and final video of this series. And then in the next series, we'll go over what we are doing with the next project, how we're going to achieve that goal, and make sure that everybody has a good time with doing that project. I do enjoy doing these series like these. So I think from now on, our videos will be more like this, where we're taking our time, focusing on specific parts. This way you all see the transition in step-by-step episodes. This way you can follow along and not having to pause and go back, pause and go back. You can just watch through the entire playlist, which brings me to our next thing. We do have a playlist for Warlock Fun, which is the name of this series. And we also have a Patreon. We have a Facebook. We have an Etsy store. We are working on a Fiverr store, but please add us on Patreon, Facebook, and look at our Etsy store and see what we have to offer. We are doing a deal right now where all of our commissions are $35 instead of the base of $50 like we usually do. With our Patreon, if you do the beginner level tier, it is $5, and you will get a behind the scenes look of how I prep for our videos, how I plan on what we're going to do, stuff like that, once a month. And then the highest tier we have is a $100 tier, and with that tier you get a free commission, you get a 20% off discount for our Etsy shop, you get a a live stream dedicated solely to you guys. You guys get weekly announcements, or every video I post, you guys will get a shout out. Is what I meant to say. And then you will get a couple more things in there. I'll have to remember them, or you can just go check out our Patreon and see for yourself. With that being said, don't forget to like, subscribe to the video, and I will see you next time when we finally move on to the object source lighting for this, and I'm going to show you how much of a blast that actually is. Have a great day. Bye.